welcome back to another three questions in 3 minutes, this time with our 2022 Power Players Rising. Today, I am joined by Troy Blackwell. Troy is the Director of Press Relations and Chief Spokesperson for the Peace Corps, a role he was recently appointed to by President Biden and the White House. In this role, Troy serves as the principal point of contact for news media and the public, both domestically and overseas. Notably, Troy is also one in a small group of openly gay individuals to serve as spokesperson for a U.S. federal agency. Thank you so much for joining me today, Troy.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here with you.
Of course. And then, so my first question is just kind of a basic one. I'd love to know what your standard workday looks like. As Peace Corps press everything, I know it has to be such an intense job. So I'd love to know just what your day to day would look like.
Yeah, every day looks different, but there are some commonalities. The first thing is I have to start my day with a really strong cup of coffee. I am a coffee addict, so that helps me get started. Then after I have my coffee, I usually do media monitoring. So I check my news apps, see what new coverage has come in, see if there are anything's related to some of the areas and topics that I cover in my role. And then after I have done a scan of media, then I answer some time sensitive emails. And so usually that's how I start my day. And then the process throughout just changes, day to day. Sometimes it could be supporting our CEO, sometimes it could be having a conversation with a reporter. But those are the three main common things.
Absolutely. It's definitely something that I think every day would change. For my next question, I'd love if you could briefly explain your experience as a member of the LGBTQ community entering the world of government. And then the second part of the question would also be, do you have any advice for another member of the community who's kind of looking to make that jump into the public sector?
Yeah, so I think from my perspective, I think representation is just really important. I think that we need more young people, more LGBTQ people, women, people of color, just folks from underrepresented groups in the government. I think it helps the decision-making process. You get a upfront view or upfront seat into how decisions are made. And particularly in the LGBTQ community, you couldn't serve in the government, I believe, up until 1977. Before then, it was illegal to be openly gay and work in the government. So I think we've come a really long way. And for me, something that's really been of importance is working on LGBTQ issues. I got my start in New York City working in the council and did a lot of volunteer work on the ground with LGBTQ groups. I also happen to be the chair of an LGBTQ based nonprofit. So for me, I think my advice would be find the issues that you care most about that deeply impact your community, and find a mentor, someone who is doing that work already, and absorb as much information as you possibly can. The more information you know, the more informed your decisions will be, and hopefully that will get us to a point where we do have more representation across the board in government.
Absolutely. No, and that's some great advice. Thank you for that. I know that it's something that we're working towards and we're definitely making good progress, but there's still a long way to come with all representation, I think, within government. So it's good to know that there are steps being taken. And then my last question is just a little bit of a fun one. I'd love to know what your dream job is. And I promise I won't tell if it's not your job that you've got right now.
My dream job. I think it's more of a dream purpose. For me, it's the ability to help people. I'm really big on advocating for, a voice for the voiceless, those who are traditionally underrepresented in the decision-making process. And so just having a role related to that, I think is of really great importance to me. And it's something that I'm doing currently now, right? As a spokesperson for a government agency, but also as someone who just gets to have an upfront view into how decisions are made, particularly because we have volunteers all across the world. But for me, that's my purpose, just making sure that underrepresented people have a seat and opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad to hear that you are in your dream field. But thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.